afternoon, folks. The Sprocket has turned up. I think I've got everything to start the job. Let's just point you down. Bit of noise. The Kuldros are flying helicopters again round the top. Yeah, there's a fair bit of difference in size between for one tooth, but yeah. And I have tried it. It does go through the hole, but somebody actually said, I can't remember whether it was on my YouTube channel or on one of the forums, that they've managed to get a 21 in there. I didn't know they made a 21. I certainly wouldn't be fitting one because I think I'd be slipping the clutch too much in first, because first is quite a high gear. That's another reason why I went for a 19. But you know, would it pass through the casing? Because otherwise you'd have to strip the gearbox to fit it. But yeah, it fits in, and obviously just with a bit of clearance, so I would imagine the 20 will go through, but I doubt if a 21 would go through. So it's not a genuine Triumph one. It's a new old stock made in Birmingham from a company called Aston Limited, probably no longer in existence, but yeah, just the job. Lock tab, yes, I've cleaned up the chisel marks out of the lock nut for the sprocket. Lock tab for the rotor. Unfortunately, I did the very best I can with that, but you know, really heavily chiseled, but it will tighten up and go back. What else? Oh yeah, I didn't order a gasket, so what are we on? Oh, we're on Shreddies today. So there's our so a little bit of blue Hylamar either side on that. There's our gasket for the porthole. I've built up, let's just move these out the way. I've built up the clutch basket ready to rock with rollers. Of the 20 rollers are in, because you have to put it in all in one lump, because obviously there's no split link in a duplex chain, and even if there was, I don't think you'd have enough space to get into the back to fit it anyway, and there's no bend in a duplex chain, so you've got to put it in one lump. So what I generally do is do the same with the BSA stuff. Once I've fitted the tapered hub that goes on the shaft between the rollers and the clutch basket, I normally fit a Jubilee clip or just some kind of hose clamp. Keeps it all in place so the rollers don't fall out, and it just leans on the edge of the rollers so nothing comes out when you try to get your woodruff key lined up to put it in. What else? Oh yeah, your elastic band is important for the bolts for the clutch pressure plate, because nothing's holding them at the back and they just locate on the flat on that ledge. So if you put them in the right position and put an elastic band around them, they won't come out and go over the edge of the lip. And that is the other, you've got to make sure, the other thing, sorry, yeah, with this, there's a thrust washer that goes on the back of this hub between the clutch basket, and that can drop down and go inside the step, and if you pull it up you can distort the thrust washer. So that's another reason why I go for this thing when they go back. And what else? Oh yeah, remember when we did the clutch last time, just let me find the little tool that I have. Yeah, this thing, this is actually, I think it's the old Mini, you know, not the BMW Mini, the original Mini wheel nut. So I've drilled out the centre so that the pressure plate clutch retaining bolts fit in, and I've milled a slot in there, and you put the screw in, and you can re-emphasize the dimple that locks the little screw against the spring to stop it unscrewing. Now definitely, if you don't do this on a Beezer, I mean, it's alright on the later, I think the 1970 on, and definitely the B50s, they made this screw about twice the height, and they drilled a little hole through it that you can put locking wire through one against the other, because they do come loose. So you've got to make sure that that dimple is going to stop that thing from unscrewing. And the same goes for the cups that they sit in. So you've got the little dimple there that sits in the pressure plate, the notch in the pressure plate, otherwise they will wind back and they start to eat away the inside of the primary casing. So I think we've got everything there. Can't think of anything else. Everything's cleaned up on the bike, so we'll move you across and we'll start putting this thing back together. So see you in a sec. Okay, we're set up. So the sprocket ready to go on. I've put a little bit of grease on the back just to be kind to the seal, and I've put a little bit of Permatex, which is an anaerobic sealant, because somebody pointed me out on one of the forums to an oil leak that you can get leaking down the splines and coming out between the lock washer and the nut and the lock tab. So put a smear of Permatex on there, so that's going to seal the lock tab. And I've also put a smear on the lock tab. Just give the nut a wipe, and that's going to stop anything leaking out from that side. And I'm just going to put a very slight touch of nut lock on the nut, bit of boots and braces, and we're off. So as I did before, that casting in there just sits nicely with this thing. I've got my 1.5" AF socket with the flats milled on it, and it's something like 80 foot-pounds or something, but I normally go FT. So here we go, and that is, I'll just give it one more. Don't want to pull the bike over. I'll go click click, and that was my automatic torque wrench going off. So we're on. I'll fold that tab over now, and the next thing I'm going to do, I'm just going to fit the chain to make sure the chain goes on. Oh, that was the other thing I was looking. Might not be able to pick it up, but you are so close to the inner edge of that casting there. So a 20 would be closer to still. So, you know, a 21 just seems, yeah, a little bit out there, but maybe. But a 21 wouldn't be for me anyway. So I'll cut you loose and we'll be back when I've got the chain on and the tab washer folded over. See you in a sec. So there we are, tabbed up, chain on, and it does fit. I've probably got about an eighth of an inch beyond the lock tab at the back, so don't quote me on this, but I think a 19 in the parts book gives a 146 pitches chain, and a 20 gives a the other way around, 146 for a 19 and 147 for a 20. But because you've got so much adjustment in the V, you know, we've got there, so it's probably on the limit. The chain looks very good. I'm not sure, I haven't done a pitch wear measurement on it, but certainly hardly any sideways on it when I had it off, so I would say the chain's in quite good condition. So with a fairly new chain it should go on no problem. So let me get this plate on and get ready for pushing the assembly, primary assembly on, to pick up the woodruff key and the splines. So see you in a sec. Okay, I didn't show you me fighting with this thing, because you need 3 pairs of hands to do it. But we're on, and then just to make sure, I just sneak it forward, not too much, and you can look down the back just to make sure you've not pushed the woodruff key. Just going to get a torch. You've not pushed the woodruff key up the slot, out of its slot, and she's still sat there and I'm still half in, so I know that's good. So apologise for the noise. It was getting a bit chilly, so I've put my Chinese copy of a Basher or Webasto or whatever diesel heater on. It's actually set to 20 degrees. Might have to knock it down a bit, I'll take my jumper off. So we're there, it's in, and there's no reason now why all this isn't going to go back. So I'm going to throw all this back together, and when we get up to the clutch maybe we'll come back and we'll start to finish it off. So see you in a short while. Okay, so it's getting close now. So what I've done is I've bit of soft brass, just let it wedge up against the teeth and there. So we're going to do the rotor first. So according to the manual it's 30 foot-pounds, so there is our 30, he said. I think we're there already. I'd be happy with that. And clutch hub is 50. So let's just wind this up a bit. Foot-pounds, not inch-pounds. 45, 47, away 50, there we go. So, a bit awkward. I've just put the brake pedal back on for this, so excuse my big foot in the way. Can I shift you back a bit? Yeah, it's a bit of weight on the brake. We're in there. It's obviously a bit. There we go. There's your 50. And the last thing I've just done is I actually struggled with the rotor nuts on the B. Even RM21 obviously used on all kinds of bikes, late 60s, early 70s, but the Beezer mounting studs are the 5/16 into the crankcase, but they throat down here. I'm sure they throat down to a smaller size, and what I've ended up having to do is, because I struggled last time, I've had to turn an old 1/2 inch socket right down so that it sneaks in there, or whether they're not the right nuts. Maybe they're a smaller profile hexagon for the, because I think they're either UNF. In fact, if they're an AF head size, they are going to be UNF, aren't they? But I thought they might be BSF on the Beezers. Anyway, it's done. So all I've got to do now is put the clutch back together, and let's see how we go. So we'll be back in a short while. Okay, we're done. I've just filled it up with 300 mLs of red jungle juice, ATF, or power steering fluid, or whatever it is, the primary side. So I am ready for a test run, but it's still, the roads are still wet a bit. See how we go in the next hour. If it dries up before the tea time traffic comes, I might just go for a blast. So let's just have a look. It's just crashed me out. There we go. So here's the spreadsheet. So these are the choices. So the crank sprocket and the clutch sprocket for the T100, there is no alternative. Gearbox sprocket, they might be on a trials version, I'm not sure. But the rear sprocket, you have the choice of the 43 or the 46. So that is the standard T100 there. 2658 crankshaft, clutch basket, gearbox sprocket 18 and rear sprocket 19. So we know it's a concentric gearbox, so I've got they're all there, but the common is the 1:1 ratio on a concentric gearbox, because you're just locking the input shaft with the output shaft. So if I just, because that's all we're interested in, the top gear. So engine RPM and speed, the bottom two rows. So 3000 RPM is going to give us 40 miles an hour. But if we go to our now 19, I have to do it on the drop down, 19, we now get another just over 3 miles an hour. At 3000 obviously makes a bigger difference higher up the range. And if I go back to the 18, and this time we fit the brake drum and combination sprocket of a 43, we get virtually the same, probably less than half a mile an hour in it. So the 19 front with the 46 rear is the same as the 18 front with the 43, but obviously the 18 with the 46 gives you the extra revs that we don't need. And we can just look. Oh, go away. I have got a product key, thank you kindly, but I'm not going there today. Bear with me a second. It's not going to let me go anyway. But the difference is another 3 miles an hour. And I was only concerned, I can't show you now because it's going to bomb me out, isn't it? The power curve was quite interesting. So the blue line is the T100 through the gears. Obviously the end result in fourth gear is the same for everyone because you've got your 1-to-1 ratio, but don't go too much on that sprocket. Let's go back to our 19, because it's just forcing that first gear a little bit high, so you don't want to be slipping the clutch. Anyway, if I can get out for a road test today, I will do, and I'll slot it in on the end of the vid. So we'll catch you either on the next one or in a short time with this video group. Well, yeah, pleased with that. It has made quite a difference actually. Tolerable now. 30 can be either in third or fourth. 40, it's nice. And at 50, yeah, it's just quite smooth. No over-revving. How many has it taken? 500 RPM off at 40 or something like that? But yeah, that will do nicely. So very pleased with the outcome. I know it was fair bit of work to actually get into it and open everything up and put it all back, but I think it was worth it. Could I have gone for a 20? I mean, it's still quite high geared in first, aren't they, for pulling away, so I don't know what it would be like 2 up, but I think at the end of the day it's a win. And yeah, the bike is a lovely thing to ride. The only issue for me now, I'll have to get some different riding boots. The distance from the right hand peg where the instep is on my boots and the gear change lever, it gets wedged in, so my boots are a bit worn out anyway, so I might treat myself. But yeah, other than that, absolutely spot on. So we'll catch you on the next one.